Welcome to the Global Peace Film Festival Lives Online Conversation 2024 Festival Edition. Please join me, Kelly Devine, the head programmer, and Nina Strike, founder and festival director, in conversation with Danielle Beverly. She is the director for the film Qatar Stars that you can see as a part of our upcoming film festival activities that begin September 17th and run through the 22nd for our in-person programming. Our virtual programming begins September 23rd and runs through the 29th. Ticket and location information can be found at our website, peacefilmfest.org. And now let's welcome Danielle to the conversation. Danielle, we're really looking forward to speaking to you today about your terrific film.
Hi, thanks for having me.
Hi, Danielle. It is wonderful to have you. And the film is, this timing for the film is really terrific right after the Olympics. So since people don't know about it, tell us about the film.
The film is called Qatar Stars. It's about a girls' rhythmic gymnastics school in Doha, Qatar. It's a 4-year coming of age story following girls from Qatar, Lebanon, Ukraine, the UK, and Egypt, and other girls. Those are the main girls, as they are at this gymnastics school over 4 years. Their coach is a rough and tough, gorgeous, sort of like takes no bull, former rhythmic gymnast. She's Russian. She's 28 years old. She runs the gym and she leads the girls as they seek to compete outside the country.
So Danielle, tell us about how you came to know about this story and what attracted you to telling it.
Thanks for asking that question. It's one of my favorite things to talk about. I'm a professor at Northwestern, and I am also, or was also, a professor at Northwestern University in Qatar. We have a Qatar campus. And I joined Northwestern in Qatar in 2015. I knew I wanted to make my next observational documentary about gender or women and girls in Qatar. But I was very patient because I had a job there. I knew that I had time to locate a story that would have resonance, that would have something at stake, and that would be in the tradition of how I film in observationally, in a cinema verite style, and longitudinally would have a story that would extend over several years. So I was pretty patient. But again, I knew I wanted it to be about gender. So I got an email one day from this new startup rhythmic gymnastics school in Doha called the Olympic Stars. They had just been in existence less than a year. I got it from a man named Manzoor. He's in the film. He's married to Tatiana, the Russian former rhythmic gymnast, and they have this gym and this school alongside a Qatari woman named Haya. They invited me to come and potentially do some social media for them because they found me through Northwestern. While that's not something that I do as a profession, I thought, this is an interesting proposition to learn about this gym. This is a gender self-segregating gym in a country where gender is something that has been, sort of discussed, and in the Western world, I would say, discussed in a way that's not accurate. But if for these girls, it's a place for some of them who normally wear a hijab to take off that hijab and to be free in the gym, as the owner Haya says, and for other girls from other nationalities to also work with the gym. So I went to observe, and I asked, can I come and observe without a camera? And they said, absolutely. So I got there and I saw these girls who were like bending themselves into impossible pretzels, doing their warm-ups and their sort of practice before they were going to do their exercises. So I'm just kind of captivated by what these girls can do with their physicality. There's such freedom in it. And about 20 minutes late, after the girls have run their laps, this really tiny one runs in. She starts running her laps, and she throws up her arms and she says, "Don't ask." And she starts doing her laps. And I thought, wow, I recognized myself as a 9-year-old in that girl. Sassy, confident, free in her, sort of in her body and in her willingness to engage with the world. And so I thought, this is a place that would be interesting to follow for several years. Now, I'll close with, this was in 2018. The FIFA Men's World Cup was coming to Qatar in 2022, and they had been rapidly building the country for it, preparing their stage for the world, the global stage for the world. They were paying a lot of attention to men's sports, but I wondered, is anyone paying attention to girls' sports? And here was a chance to follow these girls as they grew up on camera in the years leading up to that event, when the world would arrive in Qatar. And Qatar, people did not know a lot about Qatar at this time.
Well, and Danielle, you've mentioned that you followed these young women over 4 years. So as you are following them, what surprised you along the way, in terms of as much as we try to approach subjects with open and fresh minds, we still can't help but have some expectations of the story. So can you talk a little bit about those?
Absolutely. So they're the sort of main girls who they're referred to as the professional team. They're the ones that Tatiana sees the most sort of promise in, and who are committed, not just as a way to, sort of have an after school activity, but to compete outside the country, which is, Qatar is a tiny country. There was really no one to compete with. And so I looked at this as an opportunity to see these girls grow and change over time. I had initially envisioned this as a 2-year story where they would practice, they might, go through some physical changes, some emotional changes, they would bond as a group, they were already bonded. And they would have Tatiana's aspiration to compete on the world stage at this thing called the Children of Asia Games in Mongolia. That was going to be the sort of natural end to the film. Inside that story, you have a story of friendship, you have a story of, growth, you have a story, emotional, physical, psychological, all of those potentials. You have the love story of Tatiana and Mansour, who are married. You have mothers and daughters stories. That was 2018. I thought the film would end with this. They go to Mongolia, they hopefully do great, but they've achieved this goal. Tatiana has achieved her goal. What happened in 2020? All competitions in the world stopped. The girls kept growing. Girls don't stop growing. They started out as 9 to 12-year-olds. I ended the film with them as like 12 to 15, 16-year-olds. That is the time of most physical change in a girl's life, actually, is that pre-adolescence and into adolescence. So, that period of time is slightly in the movie. I think I can give that away. This is not a COVID movie, but suddenly, at the end of the movie, as the World Cup's about to happen, they are now girls who are coming into their own as young preteens and teens. An unexpected and very challenging situation happens, and I won't give that away, that affects the girls in a way that strengthens their bond even stronger. At the same time, simultaneously, Tatiana, the Russian former rhythmic gymnast coach, faces her own sort of transformation and challenge. And ultimately, we see these two parallel stories come together in that moment. So when you make documentaries, you can think you know what's going to happen, but none of us could have predicted. I mean, the Olympics were canceled.
Indeed, indeed, indeed. And one of the things that so attracted me to this story for this particular festival, the Global Peace Film Festival, is, we have global in our title. We want to try and embrace the world. We want to try and show models of peace in the most expansive ways possible. And so your film, met a lot of those, points, especially in that Doha and Qatar are certainly, a city and a country that Americans have heard of, but it still seems rather mysterious. And
Yes.
find out, to see these girls coming from all of these different cultures. I mean, I think it was a wonderful window, in terms of peace, to see how this country that we may have many misconceptions about as Americans, to see this, multicultural, a pageant of these young women. And so if you could speak to what you hope that American audiences especially might take away from seeing your film.
I thank you for you using the word expansive. That really fills my heart. For you to understand the complexity of Qatar, or try to understand the complexity of Qatar through this film, I think is a window that most people have not ever had. It is the first feature documentary about girls in Qatar, and as far as I know, the only one at this time. We know that the world press came to Qatar for the World Cup. I would say they basically talked about 2.5 stories, rather than, and they really did not focus on girls or women. There was little attention paid to daily life there. And, that's not to their, I'm not blaming them, that it's a sporting event, but it is a remarkable place. I will share with you that this gym is a microcosm of Qatar itself, even though it's filled with girls and women, girls who are practicing their rhythmic gymnastics, and their mothers who are on the sidelines, like filming them, like every mother with a cell phone. The gym is as you note, a multicultural space. Qatar is a country that has only 12% nationals. 88% of the people who are in Qatar are guests. They are either there to work, or they are family. They are a member of a family who's there to work. I myself was one of those as a professor. I'm a guest of the country. So it had this remarkable way to kind of see those multicultural lives kind of coexisting peacefully, as you note. That's why I think it's I'm so proud to be part of your festival with this film in this space. Some of the girls are Muslim, some of the girls aren't. Some of them take a break during Ramadan to break the fast during their practice. Some continue practicing. It is a place of girlhood on screen. And any person who has been a girl, is a girl or has been a girl, is going, or has a girl, is going to recognize themselves in the aspirations of these girls, their confidence, their love and caring for each other, their friendships for each other, how they want to please their coach, even if she's, very exacting. I have found that people who have done sports as children and as young adults really recognize this story, even if they know nothing about rhythmic gymnastics or gymnastics. Anyone who has been coached and has tried to compete sees the complications of trying to exist in that, in that space where you want to do your best, and often your best is not good enough to win, or is good enough to win, or winning maybe isn't the most important thing.
So tell us, Danielle, how can people listening to this or watching this, how can they support your work? How can they support this film? And also, what's happening with the film, and what is next for you?
You can support the film by please coming to the Global Peace Film Festival. I hope to have a wide and varied audience in almost every town or nearby every major city in America. There is a rhythmic gymnastics school. There is one in Orlando as well. And if not rhythmic gymnastics, which is where they use balls and hoops and ribbons and apparatus, rather than like a pommel horse, or rather than the sort of like floor mat and those kinds of exercises. There is that artistic gymnastics is also familiar to most people. So please come to the film festival. The website, you'll see it at the end of this interview, qatarstarsfilm.com. Please go to it, find the social media links on Instagram and Facebook, and let your friends know about it as it travels. By the time this gets released, I can tell you that it'll be playing at the Twin Cities Film Festival in Minnesota. I'm waiting on other festivals as well. It's touring universities and colleges. I will be screening it in Florida. I will be screening it in New York State, and continuing on that journey as well. Eventually, it'll go to educational distribution, and so you'll hopefully find it on Canopy.
Love Canopy, love libraries. So that is
Love libraries.
Love libraries. So
including the Winter Park Library.
Yes, indeed, where we are going to be able to see this wonderful film from you, Danielle. Thank you so much. This has been a really insightful conversation, and I really appreciate you taking the time and the generosity to share your thoughts with our audience. So thank you.
Thank you. Can't wait.
All right. And thank you to everyone who watched today's Glow. Again, we've been speaking with Danielle Beverly of Qatar Stars, and the website where you can find out more information, or as Danielle said, find the way to follow her on social media, is at the website qatarstarsfilm.com. And if you are in the Central Florida area in September, please do come out to the Global Peace Film Festival. Our in-person programming begins September 17th and runs through the 22nd of September. Our virtual programming begins September 23rd, ending on the 29th. All of the information can be found at our website, peacefilmfest.org. Thank you again, and we'll see you at the next Glow.